LOLeros. It is June. The summer solstice is on the horizon. I'm so excited. There's so much that happens in June, and we all know dads and grads, and also weddings, right? Isn't this the season? But you know what? Zelle is a great way to send money to family and friends, no matter where they bank in the U.S. We all have Zelle stories. Here's mine. Recently, because the weather's so beautiful, we're play dating out there. We're with the kids having a good old time. And who wants the headache of whipping out cash or the 15 credit cards after the pizza, you know? One mom usually says, I got it. And everybody else sends her the money via Zelle. And bing, bang, boom, we're done with the play date and it's organized. That's why I love Zelle so much. It keeps my life organized. What about you, Frank?
Well, Rachel, talking about graduations, this summer, Zelle saved me on a graduation of one of my nieces. I went up to her graduation. It was an hour or two away. I left the envelope at home with the cash and the card inside. So I used Zelle for her graduation. So the day was saved. Everyone was happy. And I mean, it couldn't get any better than that, Rachel. I mean, I was so happy. But Jamie, I know the summer's coming and you're a big foodie. And I know this is your time of the year. I know Zelle is going to work for you.
Yeah, I mean, Zelle helps a lot because there's some of these restaurants, you know, that you got to pay cash. And I don't always have cash on me, right? And sometimes if I'm in a steakhouse, and which was happened recently, I was in a really fancy steakhouse and I was like, oh, snap, they don't take card here. So luckily I had the Zelle app and I was able to to use it to pay for, with the other people that were there. I was like, don't worry, I'm not asking you to pay for my steak. I'm gonna give it to you right now. Just, open up your Zelle app and let's make this transaction. And let's break bread together, or steak, whatever you want to say. But that's the beauty of Zelle, because money goes straight into the recipient's bank account, typically in minutes between enrolled users. So you don't have to download another app. It's already in your banking app. Okay. Wow. And it's in over 1,000 different banking apps. Ooh. So no excuses. All right. Unless you go to a bank that, maybe one of those like illegal banks. I'm not going to, Frank probably knows a couple of people who do that. But if you're in a normal bank, I'm pretty sure Zelle got you covered. So.
Awesome. Well, you heard it first. The hosts of the Latinos Out Loud podcast use Zelle, and you should too. Look for Zelle in your banking app today.
It's the Latinos Out Loud podcast.
Yo, the sun is shining. Yo. Woo! Sun. Summer. Feels good. Warmth under my skin.
Oh, yeah.
A glow.
Oh, yeah. I see you in that sun already. You're hitting that sun hard.
I mean, do you guys see? I am a little bronceada and feeling happy. Yeah. And it is the Latinos Out Loud podcast, ready for the summer edition.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Ready. It's close. It's June 6th. It's coming. And hi, I'm your girl, slightly more tanner this week than last week, doing it in a healthy way. Rachel La Loca.
Okay.
What up? This wearing SPF 100. This is Jay Ferns.
Aye. This is your homeboy Frank Nez putting oil on,
Whoa.
Why you doing oil, Frank?
Yeah,
you also looking tan.
Yeah. I want to get really dark this year, so yeah, I'm using
all the essential oils in your crib.
I like it. Frank lives matter. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome. I see what you're doing. It's great. Frank, we've been hanging out. It's been fun. I got to tell you, Jamie,
man.
Miss you lots.
We miss you, man.
Well, yeah, I see you guys in Atlantic City. I know you mentioned you were going to Atlantic City.
Yeah. Man.
And you went to go see a show. Do you want to tell the audience?
Dave Chappelle, man. We went to see the man himself. He did not disappoint, Jamie. Wow. He had me in stitches the whole show. Wow. I mean, Rachel hasn't really spoken too much about it. She was a little upset at him, but
okay. Well,
upset
at him.
She's a little upset.
Join in the club. No, not me, but I mean, a lot of people are upset at him.
Right.
lately.
Rachel, I mean, he went in on certain people, but explain, please.
Well, there's drama with him and the LGBTQIA audience.
No, sorry. Let me correct it. No, let me correct you guys. It's the trans community he's had an issue with.
But I mean, LGBTQ, they ride or die together. So
hive. It's a hive that's coming
right.
After
But he mentioned that he doesn't have a problem with the LGBTQ community. He mentioned specifically it was the trans community that was trying to cancel him. So he went really at them. So
okay, so all I've seen is his Netflix specials, which is where the controversy started. So I'm curious to hear if his newer material, he's still talking about this subject.
Rachel?
Frank, he's still okay. I have to just say something about Chappelle. As a consumer, as a ticket purchaser, I pay to see the brilliance because Chappelle is brilliance of a lifetime. And I don't mind paying my hard-earned money to witness brilliance in my lifetime. Right. Same holds true for other people that I hold on this brilliance pedestal, like Lin-Manuel Miranda, like, or whatever, like artists of that caliber with brilliance and writing and joke telling or storytelling or hip hop improv skill. So when I went to see the Chappelle show, and this is not the first time I've seen him live, as Frank said, he delivered on the brilliance, of course. And I find it so fascinating that even with a topic of controversy, like the trans community coming after him to cancel him, he really tells a story and tells a joke where you really can't help, after hearing the punchline and everything he does after the punchline, you can't help but say, I don't like what he just said, but God damn, he's brilliant. God damn it, he's a good comedian. He's really, really good at doing that. He's talking about his strategies, Frank, fill in the blanks. I don't want to give up this man's material. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's going to be a special or something, but he talks about the real things that we see in the newspapers and hear on the news. Right. And then he adds his Chappelle layers of the onion and takes you on wild journeys. Yeah. And he didn't even bring up that many topics, right, Frank?
He goes off the cuff.
For example, let's talk about the hecklers. Yo, I don't know if it's New Jersey. What was up with the hecklers, Frank?
He got one of them thrown out. One of them got thrown out. Like he tried to save him.
Let's talk about he's a nice guy. Let's talk about he's a nice guy on stage. Let's talk about how, he talked about the attack, of course, on stage. And of course he went in on the slap heard across America, the world.
What did he say about that?
He said the guy got fucked up. Like he was happy. He was like, yeah, well, I'm happy he got fucked up. Like he's serious. Like it's not like he's like, yo, he got fucked up. You should have seen him afterwards.
He's talking about how his security gave him a new face, and Chris Rock, he came back inside after all was said and done. And he was like, yo, I think that was Will Smith, and then the whole place went crazy. But wait, what was I saying? I wanted to close the loop on something.
He went in on everybody, Rachel. He even mentioned the stuff that happened in where was it, Texas, with the kids. He threw a joke in there, like the crowd was like, just started murmuring, like he doesn't care. He's going on every. Oh, the hecklers.
So, typical Chappelle, and I've seen people heckle him too. It's so funny. I'll tell you another heckle story real quick. But he was trying to help one dude. He was like, Rick, there's about 5 security guards that are rushing down the aisle right now. They're coming to get you. I'm giving you the heads up because I want to look out for you. He was on that.
Yep. But they came.
So what kind of heckling? What kind of heckling? Was it just they were loud, or were they like, fuck you for Chappelle?
No, he's very engaging when it comes to the hecklers, and he engages the hecklers, and the hecklers start talking back, and they get really into it. And it gets to a point that it gets annoying, and that's when the security guards start coming in.
And how people go, Frank, there's a lot to say. Wait, how people come to our show and they're like, oh, we feel like we're in a living room with you guys. Chappelle makes you feel the same way. Like you're in a living room, like you're in a basement, like talking your mama jokes with him. Like, or you're on the Midnight Miracle podcast with him and Talib Kweli. I'm like, wow, this guy really invites you into his space. It's really incredible. So the hecklers weren't even saying bad things, really. They were just like, yeah, I know, right? Like trying to conversate with Dave Chappelle, and he's on stage saying like really funny jokes, but kind of like along the lines like, yo, there's thousands of you people here right now, Rick. I can't talk to each and every one of you. Shut up. Like, but security got him.
Yeah.
And there were a few people. So is it New Jersey? Are people in Jersey rude?
Jersey is a little
I've been to football games in New Jersey, and it gets rowdy.
Yeah, they're a little off, man. They're always a little off. New Jersey people a little off always.
I saw a Janet Jackson concert in New Jersey, the Jersey Arena. And there were people just like, hey, yo, Jenny, quítate la camisa. No.
What?
No. That's in the hype.
It's just the way they drive. I mean, shout out again to all the listeners we just lost from New Jersey. Key market for us here in the tri-state. Please come back. Please don't leave.
It's all love Jersey. But you know, I think just people get rowdy in Dave Chappelle's shows. And first of all, Atlantic City is not. You're getting people that go to Atlantic City from everywhere. So you get them from all the Northeast,
right? Philly.
You get a lot of New Yorkers, Jersey, of course, and you get a lot of Philly people up in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then even some Boston people come through. So you just have all the drunken Northeasterners that go to these Atlantic City shows.
Yep.
And gamble afterwards. So yeah.
Go ahead.
It sounds like a funny show, and I know he's been controversial lately, and he's always going to be controversial. I think, you know, my thing with him when he gets in that talking about the transgender stuff, it's like in the Netflix shows, it was like 85% of his show, you know, and I was like,
he goes in.
Whether you think that's funny or not, or you're offended by that or not, it's like as a fan of his, I'm like, can you do different topics? I kind of want to hear. I just want to hear you go off on like different parts of what's going on in the world or whatever, and the culture, whatever. So it sounds like in this show he did have a lot of different variety in his set, which is what I wanted in his Netflix shows.
Yeah.
The other quick heckler story, just to close the loop on that, I saw him one time at Caroline's, and the other thing I want to comment to is folds into that is like Chappelle smokes so much on stage.
He smoked like a pack, right? On stage with some Remy Martin.
So many cigarettes.
Jeez.
And but like
he's a chain smoker.
Yeah, I mean, they were hanging sausages above him just to smoke them, you know, and then they were serving them outside in the casino. But like I saw him at Caroline's one time when they had just passed the smoking ban in New York, right? Like you couldn't. And this one woman was like, you're not supposed to smoke inside. You know, like she was a nasty older New Yorker. And he was like, it's part of my act, lady. And then he started singing a song and making this cigarette dance on stage for like a full 2 minutes. It got awkward, but it was just for that lady. And you see, he engages. He engages, and it's just so fun when he does. Frank, I want to just say, rolling with you to AT, or not AT, ATL. AC. You can see how often I go
there. ATL is Atlanta. You saw the show in Atlanta?
Yeah, we didn't go to Atlanta. Sorry. You can see how often I go to Atlantic City. But rolling with you to Atlantic City was a lot of fun. I had a great time, my friend. We had so much Chinese food afterwards.
You were
Chinese food.
You know when I know food is good for you, when you go to sleep right afterwards. You were roncando in the car all the way home.
I was not roncando.
That was the best Chinese food ever. Jamie, this Chinese food was off the meter, man. Oh my God.
It was like
so
a restaurant.
We went. We're old friends. Like, let's go to the Showboat Casino next door and see if they got some kind of all-you-can-eat buffet or something. And we found not an all-you-can-eat, but we found a really bougie Chinese food restaurant. We were like, you know what? We deserve it. Let's go out to eat somewhere nice at the Showboat Casino.
Yeah, that shit was good, man.
So good.
That does sound like. That does sound like if you got sick from it, it would be something that already sounds shady when you're talking about it. It's like, I don't know. I think I got like food poisoning from this Chinese restaurant in the Showboat Casino in Atlantic City. It's like, that sounds about right.
Well, we wanted to party at the Hard Rock, but those lines were ridiculous. Those lines to eat. So we took a nice walk on the boardwalk with the, the locals.
420 everywhere on the boardwalk, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody was puffing in there, huh? Oh, that was good.
Yo.
Were they yelling out? Were they yelling out? Quítate la camisa.
They might have been. I was just trying to not listen to all the stuff happening around us because there was like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
But it was cool. It was a great time. I drove there. Frank drove back. So I'm sorry if I was roncando. I didn't realize it was that lo mein, yo.
That lo mein and the dumplings too. We ordered two orders of the dumplings. The dumplings are off the chain too. Oh.
I don't know.
Dumplings is good.
I don't know if you've ever seen me eat that much.
Nah, I have never seen you eat that much, Rachel. You're absolutely right.
Was that like a cheat? Was that a cheat day for you, Rachel?
I was like, damn, I never seen Rachel eat like this. Jeez.
Yeah. And then we took some great pictures. The Hard Rock has some really nice things on display. Anyway, Frank, good times. We got to do it.
I don't know how many blunts we smoked all together and the edibles. I don't know. I lost count.
Wait, I'll tell you what else you lost. The car. We couldn't find the car.
I could have sworn I left it near the boardwalk.
We walked that part. Dude, where's my car moments? It was a long moment. Tell him, Frank.
It took a good half hour to find it, Jamie. But those edibles, she gave 2 edibles a piece inside the Dave Chappelle show. That really did it, Rachel.
So you just were
my fault, right?
You forgot where you parked it?
We didn't forget. We kept on looking in the same area, but we just happened to find it after a while. After all the cars were gone, and like our car was the only one left.
You're like, there it is.
Let me add something to this. Okay, LOLeros, feel me on this. Have you guys ever parked in one of those parking garages that like goes up like a spiral, right?
Yes.
Or like has the weird 2 levels on one floor type thing?
Dang.
So that when you come out the elevator or go up the stairwell, let's say you park at 7H, right? 7H could be on the incline going up to 8H. You don't really know. So we kept going in that spiral. I'm like,
a math
Frank,
equation.
We're at 5. This is not working. We're on 7. So we can't leave 7.
We finally did it, Rachel. We finally did it. Took us a while, but we got there.
And the car didn't even have a loud like boop boop like panic. We kept trying to hit the panic. And the panic thing was so weak. It was like panic. Like you need a panic. You need like a big panic.
Need to be like a middle-aged, Latina woman being mira panic.
Yeah.
Over here.
Like a fragile senior citizen on her deathbed, like panic. You need a big, like you just said. Anyway, we eventually found it, and that's probably also why I fell asleep after that search and recovery. I was exhausted. Going up and down inclines in a freaking parking garage.
That was
I felt like an idiot.
That was a workout. Definitely a workout. Definitely. We did it.
We did it. You know what else we did? We did something very special yesterday. We did another McDonald's shoot. So shout out to everybody who worked yesterday on a Sunday.
What a day.
Getting it in on a Sunday.
We did it like a 9 to 5, right? 9 to 6, maybe.
9 to 5:07. Okay. Shout out to Ramon Pesante who called it on the nose. He's like, we're gonna wrap at 5. And
Uptown
how it is.
Uptown Shots, Lance, Mel.
9 to fries. 9 to fries.
9 to fries.
Jamie! I gotta shout out everybody, from our writer Black Rose who was on set. Shout out to Mel and Lance over at Being Latino who keep elevating our voices. That's the theme, I think, of this episode. It's like I just love people that are elevating our voices. Yeah, elevate. Yes. Okay, shout out to Ramon Pesante. Okay, who's just killing it. His skill, I swear, what he does with the lens is incredible. His storyboards with stick figures are also remarkable.
I don't know anybody that does storyboards. This guy is like one of the only people I know the storyboards. Like he's so on point. Like
he's a G. He's a G. And also shout out to Jersey Deep Eye, Joe Fucarino in the building, and also hair and makeup, Soraya. Check her out. RBX Cosmetics. Shout out to Sabrina, who's doing food and set design, Michelle Adana, our PA, and then of course to our wonderful on-camera talent, the bros. Shout out to Jonathan Mendoza and Imani Music, Jay Round the Way from 8JTV, amazing comedian. My God, his face can make so many faces, right, Frank? His face is made of Play-Doh, I think. It's made of terracotta.
He got so many looks. I don't know how many looks this guy. He just said eyebrows, the nose, the mouth. He contorts everything.
It's really great. It's amazing to watch him in action. I love doing these spots. And shout out to McDonald's, who's also bringing us on to like represent their fan truths. I love this campaign so much, Frank. It's all about the truths that fans reveal through their consumption of McDonald's, and more specifically, the Hispanic fan truths, like that we like to eat our McDonald's with mayo cachu. Take a little mayo, little cachu. You got some mayo cachu, or that mom is the hero for bringing home McDonald's. It's just these really fascinating truths that we're bringing to life through what was the second video in 2 of 3 in a campaign that we're shooting with Being Latino. So thank you everyone who's just coming and bringing their A game from start to finish. And that includes Frank too. Frank comes through and holds it down. He's always on time. He's always doing what he's got to do, Jamie. He's always representing for us.
Definitely. Frank is always on time. He's not always there when you call, but he's always on time.
I feel like that's an R&B song. I'm not always there when you call, but I'm always on time. And that really does work for Frank. Yeah, you're right. Good call. If his life were an R&B song, that would be it.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. And what about you, Jamie? What you been up to, man? You good?
I just been following, this whole Shakira story now. Did you hear about this? Have you heard about this?
Yes. Let's discuss.
Well, Shakira and her hubby, her football hubby, have decided to separate.
Wow.
After I think about 12 years. And the rumor mill is that he was cheating on her. So basically, his hips do lie.
Whoa, Jamie.
So yeah, and a lot of people are like, wow, like Shakira's she's back on the market. Hello. Like all these guys think they have a chance with newly single Shakira. But yeah, you know what? Soccer stars, man. You can't trust those pretty boys.
Damn. We probably have a shot, Jamie. Not you, maybe me,
Yeah, I just got married, so I'm out of I'm out of Shakira sweepstakes.
I don't know, soccer star or not, I guess his goals were not clear, okay? Yeah, because you were playing the field a little too much. And maybe playing with your soccer balls a little too much too.
Maybe
who cheats on Shakira?
Maybe he put his football in his mouth,
His foot and his ball were in somebody's mouth.
But so I did some more digging, and before this was announced, Shakira went on a TV show, and she was talking about like the meaning of the lyrics of her new song, and she said it's about like when you think you're in a sincere relationship, but it's not as real as you thought.
Ooh.
And she was like and then she also said that she wanted to know the truth. So this is what she said on a talk show about her new song, which is probably about, this philandering football guy. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's a football star. What does she expect? I mean,
well, look, she's been with him for a while.
He's a lot,
They got 2 kids, I think. They've been together for like 11 years. So you
gotta forgive him. Rachel, what do you think? She'll forgive him?
Forgive him? Forgive him? Do you know who we're talking about here? Shakira, the she-wolf? Just so you remember, okay? No way. Okay, no way. Shakira, please talk to me. Hit me up at Rachel La Loca if you need that girl to girl. Don't, please.
So he done did it, huh?
Well, check it out. I also did more digging. And there's a journalist that says that he's claiming that the footballer and Shakira have had an open relationship over the past few years.
Oh, well, that changes things.
I don't know. This is what he's saying. It could be true or false, but if once you start getting into that sort of territory, it starts getting a little murkier. It's like, is she mad about that he was with someone cheating, or was she mad about it? Maybe just the person he was cheating with, as opposed to the fact that he was cheating. Because if they have an open relationship, maybe she's just mad, like, oh, you know what? I used to be my personal assistant. Why are you gonna open relationship? Be like, keep it really open. I don't want it to be anybody that I'm close to. But,
wow.
So there could be like layers to this. It's not just like, oh my God, he broke my heart by cheating on me. It might be like, there's an open relationship, but there's still rules to this game. You know what I mean?
Maybe he crossed the line, but listen, Shakira, you also can't be a loca and be like, wherever to everybody on the block. You gotta like keep it a stack here. So if y'all have that, I wonder if there are lines drawn, right? If you're in an open relationship, don't you have to come up with the bylaws? Like, here are the laws: no personal assistants, no babysitters. You know what I'm saying?
Not my friend, my sister.
25-mile radius, outside of where we live. You can't use the boat, like, you know what I'm saying? No jizz stains on the seats. Like, I have to be there.
Wow.
What are the rules of engagement here? But if you cross the line, I'll rephrase. I won't say who cheats on Shakira, but who crosses the line with Shakira. Who crossed the line? I'm like very upset here.
Look, so now we know that Shakira is 45 years old. She's still, young enough to really find. She looks like 10 years younger. She's young enough to find the next love of her life. So let's while we're here, let's figure out who's Shakira gonna date next.
We always do this. We always do this. We are sick in the head. Why do we do this? we like to say, right? We like to.
And I think one of us predicted that when we did the J-Lo version, it was after she broke up with A-Rod. And I think one of us predicted she would get back with Ben, and she did.
Oh my gosh. It was probably you. Did you predict that?
I think it was me.
I know, right?
I think it was me. I was like, they're gonna get back together. So maybe one of us will predict again right now.
Gosh.
This is not planned. We're just gonna go for it. The first person that we think that pops in our head that should be Shakira's rebound. Wrong sport. She just got off with a soccer guy. But now who's her rebound? Maybe a basketball player. But so anyway, I'm gonna start with you, Frank, because I feel like you have somebody ready to go. Who do you think Shakira should rebound with her first?
You know what? You said basketball player. It has to be a basketball player, Latino basketball player.
Basketball. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I know Horford from the Celtics is married, I think, to some famous model. But it has to be a basketball player. So
Al Horford, but he's still like a bench guy. Like she needs a starter. She's not dating no bench.
Ooh, she needs
Sorry, Al Horford, but
hey, he's in the finals. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, she needs somebody in the starting five.
You're right.
So come on, someone other than Horford. What else? What else you have in your?
I'll put her maybe with the starting quarterback from the Jets, Zach Wilson. Nice young guy.
She's gonna say the Jet?
Why not? Man, he's the new kid in town. Why not? Yeah, I can see him with a Zach Wilson. Yeah, good looking kid.
That's a real.
Yeah,
that's a long rebound right there. That's like that's rough.
Who would you like?
That's rough.
Who would you like her with?
Let me. Oh man, I'm trying to. I wanted to stick with another Latino. I want it to be. I want I want to see her kind of stick with that. But I feel like on a rebound, she's probably gonna get with someone that's totally not someone she should like. It's like not really a match. Probably somebody a lot younger. So I'm gonna say Timothée Chalamet.
Ooh.
I think she's gonna be like, I want some young meat.
Cougar,
and just for a little while, and then she'll let him go, and probably get with some real estate billionaire dude or some shit. But I think she's gonna get with someone super young. And the first person that popped in my head was Chalamet.
Chalamet.
That's a good one.
Oh, Chalamet. Augusto, one of our sound editors. Our sound editor, not one of our sound editors. He just corrected me. It's Chalamet.
He just edited your sound to tell you that it's Chalamet. So he's not only editing the sound of the podcast, he's also editing the sound of the co-host, which is great. Thank you, Augusto. Okay, I have a few in the running in my head. Okay, and feel me on this. Okay, I think Shakira is gonna go big or go home on this one, and I don't think she's gonna stay in sports. I think we are done. I think it's game over on sports. Okay. I think we're gonna maybe go into Hollywood. I'm thinking maybe a Brad Pitt type situation.
Ooh. Okay.
So she's going. She's going older there because Brad Pitt is 58, 59.
You guys are saying the cougar. I don't know if she's gonna cougar the game because she's probably tired of the bullshit, and going young. You may go in that direction of dealing with some maturity level type stuff. I'm also thinking Drake. I'm thinking maybe Drake. I know is that considered cougar, but because there is an age difference, she's older, but
slightly, but I don't think it's that bad.
Not that bad, right?
I like the Drake one. I think that's actually. I also see Drake like finding out about this news and trying to get his team to contact her team. I think he's already on it.
Right?
I think he's already on it because he did have something with J-Lo too. Remember that?
Ooh, no, I didn't know that.
No,
I didn't know that.
That was a short and sweet kind of, probably hooked up.
And
two consenting adults doing consentable things. Yeah. So I think he's already on the phone to Shakira's peeps.
We're on to something. I think he's on a flight out of Toronto. Now, look, I think also, with Drake's situation, she don't want no more kids, right? She's done.
That's it. Yeah. She got
and Drake with the hot sauce and the condom don't want no kids right now either. So I think that there's maybe a match there too. Okay. Now, my third, this is also going to be a little, I don't know, left field. Like a Michael B. Jordan type situation. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Okay.
I guess because he just broke up with his girlfriend, Steve Harvey's
daughter,
stepdaughter or daughter. Yeah, something like that.
So
yeah, they're both coming off a breakup. I can see that.
And he's also like one of people's sexiest men alive, right? Like, I don't know. He's just, there's some eye candy there together, right?
Wow.
The both of them. Okay, but we'll see. Those are my three predictions. They're not in any particular order, but I love this game. On the low, I love this game.
I think we do know one thing, like Shakira will be down whenever, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the deal, my dear.
Yes.
Maybe the two just got tired of her. Maybe she has that voice in bed and he's just like, I can't do this anymore. She's just like right before climax, and it's just like, I can't. This has been 12 years. I can't do this anymore.
Honey, please, I don't want you to say waka waka every time you come. It's getting annoying. Please stop. Waka waka. And he's just like, I can't do this anymore.
That's it.
Not arousing.
Yeah. So that was interesting because like I said, we weren't planning to talk about, Shakira's future romantic interest, but we did it, and this is what we do.
So
in
glad.
Latinos Out Loud,
Wow.
because
So
we need
glad.
to.
I love games.
We couldn't let that go, Jamie.
We couldn't let that go. Yeah, we had to do it now, now or never. So,
yep.
Yeah. So this was good. This was good. Are you guys ready for our interview?
Yeah.
Oh, we have
that'll be
such a good interview. Speaking of Pepsi, didn't Pepsi do the halftime show with Shakira? You know what I mean? So isn't this all coming together a few years ago?
Yes.
Shakira and J-Lo.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, I hope it was the Pepsi halftime show. If not,
Yeah,
Augusto, can you edit all of that?
Wow.
It was. She actually was also, and then she made a commercial about the Super Bowl halftime show where she opens up a Pepsi. And you know, she's like, la, 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 la.
What a coincidence. Wow.
Are we just gonna keep doing this the whole episode? Are we gonna go through Shakira's whole catalog with our like little snippets and drops and stuff? Because I could do it. It's a fun game as well, you know.
I think we do have an interview. She does say that. I think she does that in like 5-6 songs. So so yeah, she's been Team Pepsi in the past. So that was actually a pretty good segue. That now we're going to talk to someone who's a part of the PepsiCo family.
Yes.
Yeah, and also like in charge of the Hispanic Business Unit. So the communications to the Hispanic, Latino, X community. So let's get into this interview with Esperanza Teasdale, VP and GM of the Hispanic Business Unit over at PepsiCo Beverages.
All right.
All right, you guys, it is part of the show. It is now time for the part of the show here at the Latinos Out Loud podcast. I say that with more and more pride every week. I don't know if you can tell. It is now the time in the show where we interview someone amazing. Sometimes I think we should just call this the Amazing Latinos Out Loud podcast, because literally every guest we've had on this show has been amazing, is amazing, doing amazing things for our community. So please, everybody, raise your cans of Pepsi right now for our new amiga, Esperanza Teasdale, who's the Vice President and General Manager of the Hispanic Business Unit, sounds like a rap group, of PepsiCo Beverages North America.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Can we get like a can sound opening, Augusto, in post-production? Like a... And we hear the Pepsi bubbles fizzling. Pepsi, one of the best tasting beverages in North America, I would say.
I've always been more of a Pepsi guy than a Coke guy. I'm going to be real.
Good thing to say, Jamie.
No, I have. I've had family arguments about it. It's like Mets and Yankees, you know? It gets real.
That?
In family barbecues, yo, someone's bringing a 12-pack of Pepsi, someone's bringing a 12-pack of
Yo,
Coke.
I gotta say something, but like Pepsi started the beef, okay? Pepsi, you started it with that taste challenge, the taste back in the day, because then everybody was like, no, like, and then it divided the country.
Yeah, and they blindfolded you. That was like kinky. It was like 50 Shades of Pepsi. You know what I mean?
What?
It was like, yo, you gotta, which one is the right Coke, which one is the right soda? But I'm such a Pepsi fan that I know the difference. Some people might not know the difference, but I know if I'm drinking Pepsi, even if I'm blindfolded. You could tell. You could tell.
Are we going to let our guests talk at all, or are we just going to talk about Pepsi with her in the background here?
Esperanza's whole thing will shut up.
No, not at all.
We talk a lot. We're Latinos. We're here. We're loud. You know, that's the name. But I would like to just kick things off by saying, okay, your title is very impressive. There are a lot of words in your title. Could you just please explain to all of us what those words mean? What do you do for PepsiCo?
Yeah, so I lead a group called the Hispanic Business Unit. So that's why I said HBU in the house.
Aye. Blue cans in the air.
And our job is to help our company really build loyalty and equity with the Hispanic consumer. That'll help us overall drive sales. And so how we do that is by understanding the consumer And Latinos, Hispanics are not a monolith, right? We're all different. We all have a different journey, story, background, food, music, sports, experiences. And so while we do have commonalities, there's a lot of uniqueness and diversity within. So we help educate the organization on what those uniquenesses are so that we can then try to be more culturally relevant in marketing, in product innovation, sales, what the shelf looks like in a retail store or a bodega or tienda. So that's our job, is basically to recognize the economic power of Hispanics in the United States and build our business with Hispanics. So that's what we do.
Wow.
Yeah, we are very unique, right?
Yeah.
Like we need to be spoken to sometimes in our language, sometimes not, but always in our culture. And I think, this podcast has been formulated to also address, and we talk about a lot, the fact that we're not a monolith. If I had a nickel for every time the word monolith was used on this show,
Oh man,
I would not have to work.
Monolith,
I wouldn't
yeah.
have to work.
It's become a popular word because I never used that word in a sentence back in until a couple of years ago.
I used to use it like in earth science in 8th grade, or like when I went to Australia and I visited Ayers Rock in the outback. It was the world's largest monolith, and I'm like, oh, that's a monolith. Anyway, Esperanza, not to put you on blast, but I think you do a lot more than what you said. Okay, it seems like you also like to elevate Latino voices who are operators, owners of small businesses. And I think that is tremendous. We want to hear more about that. Like, we want to hear what you're doing, what Pepsi's doing to elevate those voices.
Yeah, it's really proud work because, from the seat that I sit in, I'm able to influence a lot of things. And when our company made a commitment to support Hispanics almost 2 years ago now, it was through people, business, and community. And the business piece was the one that I was able to lean into. And we built this platform called Juntos Crecemos, which obviously y'all know means together we grow. I don't have to translate that. And the idea was to understand, like, hey, what do our small business owners need? Like, what are the problems to solve? And at the time with COVID hitting, systemic inequalities that were going on, there was a lot for us to solve. And so these commitments then helped us build a platform where we said, okay, let's help Hispanic small business owners. And we define them as bodegas, restaurants, carnicerias, because these are the cornerstones of the community. Like, these are really important everywhere they are, right? People go there not only for their food, but to see people, to laugh, to cry, to hear the chisme, to do whatever it is, but it's that safe place. And they're so important to the community. We're like, you know what, let's see what we can do to help elevate them and help them. And so we created this platform called Juntos Crecemos, and it basically provided access to capital for these businesses via grants. It provided foundational business support. So at the time, especially when we were heavy COVID lockdown, people were like concerned about safety and, and hygiene going into stores, things like that. And then we also helped drive awareness to this need in the community, and to drive awareness to these stores to help them get more traffic. So it was a proud moment because, I'm a marketer at heart. And for the first time, what I could do was beyond like a national scope. It was more local. And I knew that I was putting support into small business owners' hands, like literally. And so it's just something I'm really proud of. I look forward to us continuing to do that. Because if we do that with the community now, like if we show up right now, like they'll remember. And so I've talked to our internal folks, hey, this is like purposeful profit. You know what I mean? Like, it's good for business, but it's purposeful. It has a reason. And it's way bigger than just being like a publicly traded company.
Now, how would like a small business owner find out about this? Because say it's like an old Latino owner of a store. Like, Latinos are always kind of like they don't believe it until they see it type, you know what I mean? So somebody's like, yo, Pepsi or something, PepsiCo is doing something. They might need some convincing, maybe from their grandchildren or something like that. So do you kind of search for the businesses and bring and spread the word like that? Or is it something where like the business owners have to find out about this opportunity and sign up or something like that?
Yeah. So we did a lot of PR out there to inform people that what we had available. So PepsiCoJuntosCrecemos.com is the place to go. Okay. And there in particular, we have an active program that helps take a business that's, let's say it's a brick and mortar bodega or restaurant, and they can submit an application, and then they can get benefits on how to become a digital restaurant, right? Online orders, online delivery. And so COVID made that happen a lot faster. And some of these businesses just didn't know how. Like some of these businesses don't even own their own like website name, right? Yeah. Like they don't own it. Somebody else might have it. Or they don't know how to optimize search engine. So if someone searches for like, bodega near me or whatever, like what pops up? And so tech and digital transformation is really critical to these businesses for the long term. And so that's an active platform that's available. And so a lot of this was getting the word out on PepsiCoJuntosCrecemos.com because that's where you would go. And then the other way we got the word out was through local CDFIs. So community development fund teams that would, we would give them money in key markets that we selected. And then through their outreach, they would find these businesses.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Whoever qualified got a $10,000 grant. And so, that's, so it was multiple different ways on trying to bring businesses in. And then, from an awareness standpoint, we launched our Jefa-Owned marketing campaign back in end of March. And that was great because that drove a lot of impressions and awareness. And that was focused on saying, hey, listen, now let's talk Latinas, because Latinas almost have like a double whammy, right? Like, they're not only struggling because they're Hispanic owned, but they're struggling because they're female, because they're head of household, because they're dealing with this, dealing with that. There's cultural barriers. So how do we elevate her and let the light shine on her and celebrate her as a business owner? So that was the last campaign that we did. But so there's a lot of different types of outreach, but we still have so much word to get out. So this podcast very much is around like reaching people so that they're aware and come to the site and, start getting some support.
I love what you guys did with Hija de tu Madre. For that was, I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about that? I think it was an exclusive for Women's History Month, but just talk about honing in on these Latina owned businesses that have these unique offerings for the community. Could you talk a little bit about that?
I'd love to. So Pati Delgado, she's like 28 years old. She has her own business, Hija de tu Madre. Which love that name, right? Because like so to me, when I first heard it, I'm like, what's it called? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, my mother would be like, Hija de tu Madre. And Patty doesn't mean it that way. She just means like, yeah, no, I'm like my mother's daughter. And I'm amazing. And I'm a businesswoman and blah,
it's all
blah.
in the tone.
Like,
it's all in the tone of how you say
it. It's so in the tone. You're
it's
so
in the
right.
tone, man. That's right. But so Pati actually had created National Jefa Day. Like,
wow.
We have Arbor Day, trees, we have Hallmark occasions. And so she created this day. And so it all just kind of connected that we launched Jefa-Owned campaign in March, Women's History Month. We found Pati, who's a really great influencer too. And we kind of said like, wow, like we love this. We'd love to partner with you. And so that's the other thing I want to call out is because in all this work we're doing, like on Juntos Crecemos, there's many touch points. It's not just the bodega owners and the restaurant owners. It's the female entrepreneurs like Patty. It's the female entrepreneur like Natalie Bowden, who owns the Bowden Agency, who's the agency who created this platform from scratch and is doing all the publicity around it. So like every move that I can make that's putting money back into the hands of Latino owned is a priority. Because the more money that goes into their hands, then we're fulfilling our commitment, So yeah, so it was great. She made limited edition, swag for us, and we just love it. We just love it.
Wow.
This is great stuff happening, especially in these big cities where like these neighborhoods are losing like their distinctiveness and their personalities because there's like three or four banks opening up, and rents go up, and they gotta leave, and then you got a big business coming in. So this is like even pre-pandemic this was happening, but especially after the pandemic, it's at a level where like something like this is definitely needed, especially for Latino owned businesses, and so it's really great what you and the company is doing.
I have a marketing. Can we just segue? Okay, here we are. Confession to Esperanza. My brothers here know, but before I took this crazy dive into the pool of comedy and entertainment, I was a marketer for 16 or 17 years.
Ooh.
On the media side, not trying to brag, I've had the pleasure of creating some really amazing festivals and platforms and campaigns. I worked at brands like Heineken USA, at People en Español. I was at Latina, MTV3, and marketing has and will always fascinate me because the marketing 101 stuff that we learned, the purchase funnel, SWOT analysis, the cash cow, all that stuff. When I was in the marketing classes, I'm like, what is this, yo? I want to talk advertising, yo. Let's just talk some sexy ads, yo. Why are we talking this textbook stuff? But I'm like, yo, it's still applicable. I'm not even in the space that much anymore. Like I dip and dab and I freelance here and there, but I'm focused on, what you're seeing here right now. But it's still applicable to even what Latinos Out Loud is doing. We sometimes have to convert people, not just to our brand, but to listening to a freaking podcast, period. So sometimes we're out there still doing this marketing work, my fellow brothers and I, but I would love to hear more about the Pepsi process. So like, what exactly is your day-to-day? Like, what are your marketing responsibilities? Like, and maybe you can touch on those responsibilities that we, the consumer, can see, feel, and taste and be like, yo, that was my girl Esperanza behind that. Okay. Just everybody know that. Tell us more.
Yeah. I mean, right now what my team is trying to do, like I said, it's all about recognizing that the Hispanic consumer isn't just one type, right? It's a very, very diverse group. So what we're doing now is building new advertising for brand Pepsi, for example, where we're embracing different cultures and different nuances. So if I do a creative idea in a certain space, if it all, is like a cast from that looks like they're from one country and that's it, etc., like it might not resonate with other people in other places, right? So we're trying to make sure that we have executions that feel like, oh, okay, that was very Mexicano and it has some of those cues, or it's very, Caribbean, more Puerto Rican than Dominican, and, really leaning into the uniquenesses that are there, because then that's what makes the creative more relevant for people to be like, oh my God, yes, that's a truth. And so we spend a lot of time on well, hey, what's the cultural truth? Because our brands are really structured and have amazing positioning, right? What does the brand stand for, etc. But then when you add the Latino cultural truth in it, that's where you pivot a lot, right? We're a very expressive culture. We have different ways of saying things, right? We all love our different music or different novelas or what have you. And so leaning into those uniquenesses are what makes the relevancy work harder for you. So that's an example of things that we're doing. And last year we created advertising where we had some executions that were very Mexicano, some that were very Dominican. And it's important for us to make sure that our casts are diverse, so that we are representing the different, shades of our people, right? Because we're we're all very, very different. We all are coming from a different starting point. And so that's important. So I take the representation of how we bring Latinos forward, really, really seriously, to break those negative stories and stereotypes that they look like this, they dress like this, they talk like this, to those that are more like, real and closer to people, feeling, the positivity that should come with being Latino, the superpower of being Latino versus the drag of it. Like, why is it a drag? Like, why do we have to defend ourselves
At
all the
all. For real.
At all.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well said.
Yeah.
I have a very, very important question. I've been holding on to this question for a while. Has a little to do with marketing, a little to do with personal. Has there been any discussion about bringing back clear Pepsi? Any discussion at all? Because I happen to be a huge fan of the clear Pepsi, Crystal Pepsi from back in the day. And then when it was gone, I shed a crystal tear or two. And I'd love to know if that, and there's a lot of joking behind this question, but maybe you could tell me if anybody's brought it up at any conferences or any meetings.
Yeah, it's come up a couple times. I probably brought it back a few years ago. It does pop up, in social, you might, if you search like Crystal Pepsi, like you would see social mentions about it and stuff. Cause it's kind of got like a little iconic status going on, because it was pretty disruptive at the time. But I can't confirm. I'm not going to confirm or deny if it's coming back anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know. Hope so. Do you remember there was a Pepsi AM, and it was like Pepsi, it was in the late 80s, I think, and there was Pepsi AM was like the breakfast. They were trying to compete with coffee. I think they were way ahead of their time, because now there's so many drinks that are trying to keep people up. I think they need to bring back Pepsi AM.
Oh,
I don't know. Esperanza, right. I'm just throwing out part of the history. I'm trying to bring back the Pepsi history.
You can consider us like your focus group if you want. Like, we're here to give you our personal opinions that represent, I think, many Latinos out there, especially in the Northeast, right, Frank? Any Pepsi requests that you have, or any personal Pepsi stories you want to share?
Nah, he gonna want liquor in there. Like, they can't sell.
No.
I mean, they can. No, right? They can right around with the sparkling and stuff like that, right? But
we do have a hard Mountain Dew.
Oh,
yeah. So it's not available all over the country yet, but it is in certain parts of the country. Yeah.
Oh, see, already that's dangerous. It's like it's not at all
tantalizing.
Everybody. Yeah. Esperanza, is there like a marketing campaign that you're particularly proud of in your kind of in your history of working in the business?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, I mean, there's two. One is right before the election, we leaned into the fact that there's a lot of folks that didn't either feel like their voice or vote would matter, or they were just confused as to how to register to vote and prepare for it. And so we connected, this idea that, your voice needs to be heard. And if it's not heard, it's like you're muting your voice. Like the mute button on Zoom. So like when someone's on mute, you're like, you're on mute, I can't hear you. Well, if you mute that button, then I can't hear you. And if you mute that button, it's like your voice can't be heard.
That's deep.
So the positioning of the creative idea ended up being unmute your voice, which was all around make your voice be heard, register to vote. And so I was really proud of that campaign, because there's a cultural truth there. There was a timeliness in what was happening, because we were gearing up there's a lot of voter registration conversation and needs as we went up to the election. And I was really proud of that work, because the multicultural truths were extraordinary. And then the campaign that we just launched now, actually with Rockstar Energy, is called Poder para mi gente. I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm really proud of it too, because it leans into, again, this whole idea that being Latino is not a tax. Like, it's a dividend, it's a superpower. And so, and we're hustlers, right? We're hustlers in the sense that, like, we're constantly moving forward to do great things, but it's not just for us, it's for the community, it's for others. And that's a real unique difference. Because it's not just like, if I just do something in my hustling, it's not just for me. but it's for my family and it's for a broader group of people. And so we came up with the creative idea of Poder para mi gente, you know, power for my people. And it really celebrates the stories of this gentleman, Vic Blends, who's a big influencer. And, you know, he basically does haircuts for free for conversation. And he's got a great story of, you know, starting in his mom's garage and everything. And it features him and how, you know, he may have left at one point, but now he's back, and he's back to help uplift the community that he's in. And so we're going to try to continue to tell the story of people like Vic, you know, in this campaign. So that's one that we literally just launched it maybe like 6 weeks ago.
Congrats. Wow. That's really impressive. I love when brands highlight the voices from within the community, and sometimes from deep within the community, because there are these grinders out there, you know what I mean, like these Latinos in the hustle, in the grind, that are doing just phenomenal mountain moving type stuff. And I really applaud you and Pepsi for, again, highlighting, elevating those voices that sometimes go, you know, just out there doing their thing in the wind. But it's nice to celebrate, and for Pepsi to back that up. Esperanza, I know you've had quite the career here. You were at Unilever for a while, working on oil brands. Is that correct?
Yes, Mazola oil. That's the first time I did like Hispanic marketing.
My question is, you know, we also like to say here at Latinos Out Loud that we move Latinos forward while making them laugh. Oftentimes, okay, guys, start playing the music, because I say this a lot, Esperanza. I know these two already know the script, but I just have to tell her, guys, like, we often hear from listeners that, you know, if they're in college or they're like trying to shift careers or pivot a bit, like, yo, I didn't know there were Latinos behind the camera on set, you know, like Oz Rodriguez, or you're like directors, or like, I didn't know that there were Latina journalists covering the Middle East, like former guest Maria Hinojosa, you know, like they're hearing the interviews of the guests that we bring on the show, and they then think, oh, I can do that too. And through this interview, I just learned a little bit how. But if there are probably some future Esperanzas out there listening to this podcast, and given your career and your background and how you did it, what's some advice that you would offer them? Because I'm sure, like myself included, there's a certain feeling you get from marrying the passion for your community with your career, in this case, marketing, that is a beautiful collision of two worlds. At least that was my experience. And I'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah, same here. I mean, especially this job right now, where it's my job to bring the Hispanic consumer forward into my company. You know, it definitely is a powerful moment, an important moment for me. I think the biggest thing would be, you know, like, just don't let anyone discourage you. I mean, my parents' journey was not easy. You know, they immigrated here. My mother was an accountant in Ecuador, and she came here. She had to work in a factory like pretty much her whole life. Like she couldn't pass the accounting tests in the US because she didn't know English. Wow. So like, you know, I reflect on everything that they did to overcome, to help me have more and live better, and not have to sacrifice as much as they did, so that when things got in the way of that, of me reaching what I wanted, like, had to fight through it. And like, I went to school for engineering, so I didn't even study math, marketing. And then like a couple years into my career, I started to go for my MBA. I liked marketing and sales. And I remember meeting this one woman who I was hoping would give me a marketing job. And, you know, she was kind of like bougie, and we met somewhere in Westchester and whatever. And so she was like, oh, so like, you know, have you ever sold lemonade at a lemonade stand, like in front of your house or whatever? And I'm like, no, I haven't actually. Why do you ask? Well, like, how do you know then that you could be in marketing? Like, obviously, like, you have no entrepreneurial skills. And I'm like, oh,
wow.
I'm like, dang, woman. I was like, wow, talk about like, shut the front door.
Because of a mistake in your childhood, or like not selling lemonade as a child?
I was like, wow. So I'm like, okay. And then I can't tell you how the rest of that lunch went. I don't know. Like I purged it out of my mind. But I'm like, hell no, is she gonna tell me no? And then one of my sponsors, because in corporate America, we're talking a lot about sponsors. Who's your sponsor? Who's gonna give you an opportunity? And my GM at that time was like, if you want to do marketing, I'll create an analyst job for you. And he saw my hustle. He saw how I worked. He saw how I was passionate about what I wanted to do. And that was it. And so those people will find you, and they'll open those doors, and you just gotta, run right after them and go with it. And then you make it what you want. So, so that's what I would say. Like, just like, you could do and be whatever you want. You're going to have pivots in your life. Where you started is not where you're going to end, and even when you think like, okay, like, now I'm in my groove or whatever, something's going to make you uncomfortable and challenge you. But it'll make you better once you get through it. And at that time, you might not realize that, but afterwards you'll be like, oh, okay, I went through that because it was meant to happen so I could learn a skill, and then now I can apply it and do better and better. So yeah.
So basically, when life gives you lemons, start a lemonade stand and sell it
Right.
outside your house.
Okay. Or you could start lemon Pepsi. Okay.
Oh,
That's something else that you could also start.
That's true.
But there's also, I mean, like you were saying, like there's also going to be people that discourage you, like that could discourage you, like that woman, and you were like, nah. But there's some people that they take that stuff to heart, and then they all of a sudden, go into their shell and do something else. So don't let those Westchester type bougie people, whatever version of that pops up into your life, don't let them steer you away from what you want to do just because they have their own kind of bougie opinions or or suggestions or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and that's why, like, anyone who will reach out to me, like in our company, or even people I've met at other places that want to stay in touch or whatever, like I really try to be accessible, because I've had people be accessible to me, and it's for me to do that for other people so that they can talk about what's happening at work or career ideas or networking opportunities, like whatever it is. So we have to, in the seat where we have to bring other people to sit, like we have to fill those seats with more and more of us. So that's really, the end game for me as I think about my career and where it's going to go, is like, I just want to be known as that person who's going to help do that with people. And, some people it's easy to get there with, some it's not, but you know what, at the end, I think all people want to just do great. And so I just want to try to help as many people as I can.
nice.
I love that so much. I have one final question. I should have asked this before because it sort of pertains to marketing, but within the unit, within the building, within Pepsi corporate, are you ever in meetings having to educate others about the Hispanic market and about our consumption behavior? Like, are there still people out there under the rocks of like not knowing how we overconsume and over index and like are here, period, like in the numbers? What's that like for you?
Yeah, it's constant. I think there's some leaders that understand it very easily. We don't have to convince. It's just more, how does our team work with them to build plans that's going to help do it? There are other teams that are like, I don't know why I need to prioritize it. There's other teams that are like, I know I need to prioritize it, but I don't know how to prioritize it. So different people come at it different ways. And for me, like, there's one group in particular that just, they're like within their market, like they just didn't understand the demographics of their market, which surprised me because they live in their market. So you should know that from living in your market, but no, because even if people live in a market, let's say, they might not live in a city or geography where they would see the diversity of the population. Right. They might be in bougie, Westchester.
But not in like the city, not in Spanish Harlem.
No. So that said, for me, like how I treat that has to be really delicate, because we want to help them understand. And once they understand, it's a very simple question. Do you want to grow? Do you want to grow your business? And the 99.9% of people are like, of course I do. Okay, well then you want guaranteed growth, you lean into Hispanic. Like that's it. Like it's that simple. but they need to understand the consumer more, and then the business, what it looks like in their market. And so we approach different geographies in different ways. But yeah, so there are some folks we still have to educate more than others, but that's okay. Like, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah. Well, I think you educated a lot of people through this interview on the podcast. So I just want to really thank you for your time. Esperanza, one more time, pop those bottles and spritz those cans open for Esperanza Teasdale of PepsiCo. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Esperanza. Is there would you like people to follow you on social? Is there a handle you want to drop? Sometimes people are like, no, thank you. It's been real. Tip your waitress. Have a good night. Or some people are like, yeah, follow me here. Up to you. Your call.
Twitter is SPT, ESPY, capital T.
All right. You guys heard it here. All right. Thank you so much, Esperanza.
Thank you. It's really great to talk to you. And I love what you guys do. There's a great energy to it.
Thank you. Gracias. We are here trying. I'm going to go pop some more Pepsi. Okay.
Wow. That was a really very
refreshing.
Fresh, yes.
See what I did there?
My choice for a new generation.
Ooh, Jamie,
you guys are like coming on commercial.
Slogan.
She's gonna do a commercial. She's gonna put you guys in a commercial now or something. You guys,
let's go. Let's write a commercial together. Let's do
Pepsi this, Pepsi that. Oh,
and of course, Rachel had to ask a Crystal Pepsi question. She asked that to people who don't work for Pepsi. Are they ever gonna bring Crystal Pepsi back?
The two beverages I want to come back. You know what they are because I say it several times on this podcast. Crystal Pepsi and Zima. I will always talk about Zima, the clear beer, the clear malt beverage from back in the day.
Yeah, and I didn't know Pepsi was your favorite drink, Jamie. I mean, it just popped up this episode. I mean,
no, well, that was actually, it's not even a joke. Me and my cousin Jerry, we've since like I was a teenager, we always have this Pepsi versus Coke conversation.
Oh shit.
And like, I respect Coke in the sense of like, it's the better, it's better when you add other stuff to it, like rum and other stuff like that. But I like Pepsi better as a singular drink.
A standalone.
As a standalone drink.
Word.
And he's pro Coke, and they, he's always like, yeah, but we got the better Christmas commercials and shit. So it's like, there's no way. We've had that back and forth for a while. So that was actually real. So I was sharing that with her. But it's a real thing. It's a real competition thing. So I'm pro Pepsi.
Yeah.
All right.
Different taste altogether. I don't know how they're even like, put on the same pedestal. They're just
but Coca-Cola, if you want to invest in the podcast, I'm easily
easily swayed, right?
Easily swayed, easily convinced. So let's my loyalty is
it's up in the air.
It's up for grabs, RC Cola, if you want to make a bid,
RC Cola? Are they even around?
Back in the day, son.
My God.
Jeez.
All right. Hoffman soda. If anybody out there remembers Hoffman.
I don't even know that.
All the Jewish teachers in like South Brooklyn in elementary school drank Hoffman soda. It was always in the like vending machines. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
Here we go. All right. Look, let's, I just want to say thank you so much to Esperanza Teasdale for giving us her time and for the dope stuff that she's doing, like the Juntos Crecemos, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Do you guys want to talk que lo que? Shall we?
Why not? Yeah. That sounds like a good idea, Rachel.
1, 2, 3, vamos a bailar otra vez. Que lo que, 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 que lo que. 1, 2, 3, menéate otra vez. Que lo que, 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 que lo que.
All right, it's que lo que. Man, that song never lets me down. You know,
Wow.
it's that woo. now that just gets me like, all right, are we going to work out right now? It's 9:30 p.m. I'm going to get on my bike for a few minutes just because of that song. Guys, let's talk que lo que. Dímelo, que lo que. What's going on in the community? Anything? Que lo que? What's popping?
I'm just going to give a shout out like I always do to Yellow.com.
All right.
The news and lifestyle platform for Latino men.
All right. Yes.
So go to Yellow.com and get your fill of everything for Latino men. Anything a Latino man can think of, they want to know about. Yellow got it for you. So we always support them and they always support us. So
all right.
Also in the news, this is a big deal in the news. These Latina activists and entrepreneurs, Jess Morales Roqueto, and Stephanie Valencia, they raised $80 million to launch a new Hispanic media company called the Latino Media Network.
Jesus.
It's one of the largest capital raises for a Latina-owned and operated startup in the U.S.
Okay.
So
this is big.
With this capital, they acquired 18 Hispanic radio stations across 10 markets from Televisa Univision.
Wow.
So,
this is big.
It's big, you know. I mean, this is like they got a lot of investors, including Eva Longoria. Actress Eva Longoria was part of it.
Okay.
And they're trying to get, you know, the most of the stations they acquire were primarily Spanish language, and some are bilingual. Some are like AM stations, talk radio. Some are sports. Some of the FM stations are music, but they're really trying to get support more Latino content on the radio. And I guess the next, it's starting with radio with this, and I guess they're going to build it to more stuff in entertainment. So, but anyway, basically these two women are doing big things, and they're Latina, and we got to shout them out on the show because that's what we do. So
I love that.
That's a cool thing in the news. And read more about them. And there's a lot more information about that. But we just wanted to shout them out initially just because it's a pretty cool thing. So anyway, that's if you want to follow me, J Ferns, Instagram, J_Ferns, Twitter.
Right.
Franklin.
Okay, guys. Rachel, talking about community, I want to give a shout out to Uptown, Washington Heights. We're having our yearly Uptown Scroll event, where various artists have their pieces in different restaurants, different businesses, and people can go and check out their works. And I went to the 20th grand opening, which had Lin-Manuel Sr. there, also former guest. Angie Cruz was there. She was celebrated. Led Black was in the building.
All former guests of the Latinos Out Loud podcast. Yeah,
I want to give a huge shout out to my childhood friends since second grade. Christian Viteri, he won the award for the art piece, for the poster. Yes. Yay. You can find them on IG _insider. His name is Christian Viteri. He's my childhood friend since the second grade. I'm very happy for him. Cute. He did his shit. You know what I'm saying? He's a great artist. He's a great friend. He's amazing. He's a musician, and he put his piece in there and he won. And I'm very happy for him. I also want to give a shout out to the Heights. Yesterday we celebrated the opening of Johnny Ventura Way up in the Heights.
Wow.
Espaillat was in the building. Johnny Ventura was a famous merengue singer from the Dominican Republic, and he died about a year ago. And they dedicated a street to him in the Heights, and that's huge for us. So yeah,
I love that. Yo, along those lines, shout out to Washington Heights, who will be hosting opening night of the Tribeca Film Festival on Wednesday at the United Palace.
Yeah, we getting down.
I'm like, yo, Washington Heights is hot right now.
Jesus,
hot.
Right.
Caliente. I cannot wait. Very exciting.
So yeah, shout out to the Heights. Shout out to Inwood also, Jamie. But yeah, shout out to my lovely Heights. Great things happening. Thank you, folks.
Throw in also Inwood, which is a couple blocks Technically, only
We're
a few
family.
blocks
We're all
on the
family.
high.
We're all family. We're all
I'm
family.
gonna have to like rent an apartment or holla at one of my family members who's on Section 8. Like, yo, I rep the Heights, but I don't technically live there. Can I put my name on your like Con Ed bill?
You're getting your honorable.
Am I?
Yeah, you're getting it soon.
I'm always there.
You're always there. You're always there. We're
I'm
gonna
always
have to.
there.
It's a little bridge. It's a little George Washington bridge we give you. It's like a little stamp that we, you know.
I love that place, man. Gotta go there tonight. Cop. Okay, here we go. At some point. You can follow. Is it my turn, Frank? Are you finished? Do you want to
Yes,
do
I'm
anything
finished.
else?
It's you, Rachel. It's all you.
Okay, Mr. Washington Heights, yo. You can follow me at Rachel La Loca, Rachel La Loca. There's a lot of exciting things in the burner right now. You know, Latinos Out Loud, we're going to be coming up on a monumental milestone in the fall of this year, that being our 300th episode.
Woo!
Yeah, 300.
Wow.
So we're literally en route to that. And we hope that you follow us on this road. It's going to be very exciting. And that's all I'll say about that. And I just want to shout out all the supporters, my mentors who are out there. You know, like when you are going through something in your career and it's like, okay, mentor alert, and you got to reach out right away.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that when I reach out to these one or two people that they respond right away. Like they know that I'm ringing the bat phone.
The bat phone. The green phone, the red phone.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So shout out to all the supporters out there, and all the content creators. It was really lovely to feel that vibe yesterday, right, Frank? Just shooting on a Sunday.
As always.
And to all the LOLeros, thank you so much for your continued support. Please drop us a rating, some stars, some bars, whatever you want to drop us, but just drop it like it's hot and call us at 978 Latinos. And to everybody behind the scenes, let's shout out the crew, yo. Talking about the crew from yesterday. Let's shout out our producers, Paco de Pablo, and of course, Mitzi Hernandez. Mitzi.
Producer Mitzi, what up?
And of course, our sound engineer who also engineers the sound that comes out of our mouths.
My God! Can I add this real quick?
Go.
On the way back, Jamie. I heard 2 podcasts. You know, I haven't heard one since, I don't know. And the sound design is amazing. I couldn't believe it. August has done an amazing job. That's all I want to say.
Frank, I'm so glad that you listened to your own podcast finally.
You know me. I don't like, yeah.
I'm glad to have been there to see you listen to it. And we laughed together. We pressed rewind a few times on the jokes that we couldn't believe we said.
After you found the car.
Right.
Right. After we found the car. Yeah. That was a moment. And yeah, it's great to just, Augusto, you're a gem. Thank you so much for the sound design.
Yes, sir.
You're an architect with sound, yo.
Augusto Martinez in the house.
Yes.
Sonoro, everybody over at Sonoro doing their thing. And I guess on that note, we out.